Behold, I saw the tears of God on behalf of the indigenous peoples of America. Behold, 3.7 million souls survive. $160 to 70 million white people live in the land of indigenous people. Their ethnicity in this continent, on this continent, is less than that of the Jews of Israel. Natives, my native friends, it grieves my heart what white people have done. It grieves God's heart that so many of your people have been mistreated, abused, and nearly eradicated. You can start making babies. And I want to fight on your behalf, honestly. Like, what the US government and what other white people of the past have done to the natives is just wrong. And so, yeah. Like, it's almost like tribal leaders and tribal family members need to be like, you guys need to start making babies with your tribal members. Like, families matter. Dads and wives matter, and like keeping them and maintaining them and having healthy, happy, big families is important. Like, honestly, I know I'm a German white American with Norse and Swedish ancestry and maybe some East Coast Native, but like, honestly, like, natives are awesome. Like, seriously, so many of them, whatever tribe you look at, Cherokee, Dakota, Eastern Iroquois, League of Nations tribes, like, find a husband, get married, and have lots of babies if you're a girl. Dude, find a wife, get married, and have lots of babies. Like, I don't know, it just, that's kind of how I feel. And, like, I would definitely have a native wife. Like, it's just my thoughts, it's what I see. The tears of God on behalf of the people, that its population has dwindled because of the wrongful use of power in white America. Basically almost eradicating the buffalo, exterminating natives. It's like, you know, I had a native brother on my football team. I know that we didn't necessarily see eye to eye on everything, but like, you kind of know a kindred spirit or soul. It's like, this dude is a freaking leader. Like, he's a leader of his people, a leader on defense, and it's like, dude, like, what happened to the natives of America is like worse than what happened in like Europe with the Jews. I'm serious. And like, this people say like, oh, the natives have been well repaid for what has happened to them. You know, the government, restitutions and money. It's like, I don't know about that one, honestly. Like, just do Google. Like, ask Google, like, the population sizes of all these different European countries, your ancestry, and then Google how many natives live in North America, specifically America. America's population, listen, is like 331 million souls, right? Of all different ethnicities. 61% of those are white people, whatever that is. And like, obviously, from lots of different countries, right? 3.7 million, so what is that? Like, even 1% of America is native. Like, I know, like, 200 or 300 years ago, like, like, honestly, I don't even know how many people were living on this continent around the time of like the Vikings coming here first, then Columbus. You know, smallpox and the disease wiped out a lot of the native population as well, which isn't even like, you know, the fault of white people. It's just because of what they ate in Europe and bringing it here and that kind of stuff. And then even like smallpox with blankets. I mean, how sick is that? How awful is that you would give somebody freaking smallpox with blankets that have it, you know what I mean? And other things like that, you know, like obviously there's a lot of like hate goes deep. But yeah, like even if I was a Viking and I'm a noble guy, right? Like not a pirate, I don't want to just go rape and pillage. Like I'd try and make peace. Like if I'm going to another land and I'm meeting people for the first time and they're brave warriors, just like me and my clan. Like first off, you want to try and make peace if you're an explorer, right? You don't want to resort to war because, dude, the more fights you get in, the more chance one of your buddies is dead. So you try and make peace. If you want something bad enough or good enough or whatever, then yeah, there might be a skirmish or a battle, and then it's like, all right, a lot of people are going to end up dead or on both sides or on one side or whatever. And it's like, I think there were some noble Vikings that tried to explore here and tried to make peace, and then there were some that didn't. They were just in it for treasures and war and rape and theft and all that. And so, yeah, you know, it's just like looking at the whole of what modern 2024 America is, and then like what 1,000 years ago America was. Think about it, like, or even like 2,000 years ago America. Like, I don't know when white people first came to this continent. I have a good guess. You can check it out on my channel in the, you know, German and Norse and Viking culture. But native culture has been on this continent for almost 2,600 years. I do think that you guys, like your ancestors, crossed the Alaskan land bridge. And so, like, obviously God's angels spread out the people, think about this, over all the earth, you know, and like God divvied to each ethnic tribe their lots and their lands. And you know, what I see in America and like, you know, the whole manifest destiny of like the 1800s, like what I see in America and in each ethnicity and in each tribe, like think about it, I'm German speaking English right now. My blood and my original tongue of my ancestors was Deutsch. Sprechen Sie Deutsch, willkommen. Like, I can speak it a little, but not a lot. Like, I'm speaking American English right now. And many Dakota and Cherokee and other tribes speak English as well. And it's like King's English, you know what I mean? And like, the King of Kings spoke Hebrew, Aramaic, and maybe a little Greek. And, you know, from the time of Babel, when God divvied out different languages to all the different nations and spread them across the face of the earth, to today, we've had a lot of chaos in the human story, the human race. And truly, I think Native Americans are some of the most beautiful people, like outwardly and inwardly. And like, not all of them were peaceful, but many of them were. And specifically the Dakota people, they were basically like there's many nations in this nation, right? And they had different allotments of lands and they had their borders. The Dakota were one of the greatest of the continent. The Dakota nation of the buffalo. And they were one of the most wealthy because they had gold, I'm pretty sure. Just like the Incans and the Mayans down south. Like, the Dakota were like the rich natives of America. Cherokee as well, but there's not as much gold down there as there was in the Black Hills, I'm pretty sure. And it's not just about the gold, it's about the buffalo. And like, looking at how great that tribe was, expanding from Minnesota all the way to Montana. Dude, that's even greater, that's a greater quote-unquote chiefdom instead of kingdom, chiefdom, than Alexander the Great had for landmass in some senses. Like, at least to start, in Macedonia. So the story of the Dakota is a very interesting story to me. You know, they're one of the strongest tribes one of the tribes of the 3.7 million tribes in America that have the most per population. And they've had struggles with the U.S. government. Think about how much they've fought. There are other native tribes that they're just gone. Like, how sad is it that some native languages are just dead now because the people died off, the language is just gone. And so, yeah, I love the Dakota people, and I care about them, and I see their way of life, and yeah, there's some rich ones that probably hate me just because I'm white, but it's like, I love Dakota people, and I love their story, I love their God, because I believe their God is the same God as mine, the one true and living God, the great walk-on, and his Chaska is Jesus Christ. Not even Lakota, not even German. He's a Hebrew. The Son of God was a Hebrew, All tribes got to come to reconciliation with that fact. And Jesus really loves the Dakota a whole lot, I'm telling you. They are very spiritual people. They know the one true and living God. And they were a noble tribe. When you study the tribes and you look back at when white people first came with the gospel to America, the gospel was already recognized amongst that specific tribe through many of their spiritual practices. If you look at that, and if you look at them intently, it's true. They had a very masculine culture. They respected females, and females respected the males. They were a very noble culture, and they are still to this day. They fight for their loved ones. They fight for what they believe to be right, and this is their land. It's their nation. They're a sovereign nation under one God, just like America. One nation under God, the white people's version, and brown people's version. It's the same dang thing. It's not just dang, it's the same blessed thing. Can we get along? Can we love each other? Instead of hate each other and kill each other. Or take what's not ours, or take what, I hate the fact that not just the Dakotas' kindness, because they were very kind to white settlers to begin with, but then when the government screwed them over and other white people started screwing them over and being racist and basically just gypping them and not being true to their word, then yeah, things got really ugly really fast. But yeah, it's the kindness of Native and Indigenous peoples was rewarded with evil, which is not a good thing, and it's a really sad thing to see. Whether you're attracted to women that are Native or not, that's totally up to you. It's your personal preference. I personally think they're very, very beautiful, and it's just like seeing a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, very beautiful. Beautiful brunette, blue-eyed German woman, beautiful, very beautiful, amazingly beautiful. And so, yeah, trying to understand how each ethnic culture can live in one nation under God in America is very important. And I think that indigenous rights really matter, they really do. And taking care of indigenous peoples and protecting their rights, their lands, their sovereignty, and their way of life is very important. Sharing the gospel with them is very important too. They already know the gospel too, it's not hidden. The message of Christ is clear to all nations. The ones that accept are wise, the ones that reject are unwise, and hell is real. That's one thing that, I think the native cultures, it's interesting, in each cultural tribe of the Native Americans, they probably had different legends, stories, and mythology, and not just mythology, but religious beliefs on behalf of the afterlife. For the Dakota, it was very positive, very upward, very spirit-filled thinking. I don't know much about their thoughts about torment in the afterlife. The Dakota didn't really, from what I know, didn't really think of it like that. They had a very hopeful view of the afterlife because, when you believe in God, when your tribe believes in the one true God, you don't fear death. You don't fear like you're going to hell. You feel like you're going to where your ancestors are going. The beautiful land, the beautiful place, the beautiful realm, you know, in eternity. Like, that's how they spoke about death in their prayers. So yeah, I want natives to have a lot of babies. I want potentially to have a native wife, and yeah, like, I think that God really cares about the natives and is really, really grieved to see what has happened to them in this land. Like, their kindness being rewarded with evil and just like all that. And so to all my friends that are native, peace to you. I love you very dearly, and God loves you too. The Creator, Great Spirit, Wakan loves you, and yeah, like, basically what I had to share and what I have to share. You know, I've seen all the different memes, like, you know, if they would have fought and like killed the pilgrims and killed off all these other people, then other things like, you know, the Manifest Destiny talk and like the U.S. government trying to basically eradicate their entire people groups just because they were fierce warriors, dude. Like, I mean, think about this. Like, at first you try and establish peace, then racism gets in there, and then all of a sudden it's like, just kill them all off because they're not one of us, and we don't want them, or we don't like them. It's like, that is definitely not the way to go about making peace amongst all tribes. Alexander the Great was a better man than that. I'm telling you, than what the frickin' 1780s to like 1870s U.S. government was. That's when the bad generation of white people, in my opinion, on behalf of the natives, lived. Like, how and I'm going to say this not in vain, because I love God's name. How in God's holy name did white people in that generation think that it was okay to be racist to the natives and basically treat them like dung? Like, that was supposed to be like the super Christian era of Christianity, and like they viewed, right, like the natives as like the Philistines or something, and it's like, hang on now. They may have different views, and they may be a fierce and like warlike people, and you may not completely agree with their religious beliefs, but like, how do you try and convert them, not through conquest, but through the Word of God, through peace, through humility, through the Apostle Paul? Like the Apostle Paul, you know, when Christians actually like live to die for the gospel rather than live to kill for it, that's when you see Christ-likeness. How many people did Jesus Christ kill to share the truth about his Father with? 0. To my knowledge, none. He died for them. He flipped some tables, right? He got angry with the Pharisees specifically, but you didn't see him killing people to try and tell people about God the Father. Abba. So, yeah, Paul mindset rather than, you know, white supremacist Roman military mindset of sharing the gospel and like conquest. And even like they lost it. Like Alexander the Great, whoever took over Rome's military was so just in my opinion, not wise. Like, when Alexander the Great conquered different tribes, he didn't eradicate the tribe's race. He actually married an Indian girl. Like, he didn't get married to some white girl. Like, he loved the people that he was quote-unquote conquering. He saw the world as like something to be discovered, not something to be raped. You know, like, there's a difference between somebody who's actually a good king, a good conqueror, and an evil one, or like, you know, a greedy one. So I just wanted y'all to think about that, and, you know, protecting the purity of each culture, trying to share the truth to each culture in its unique setting and its unique ethnic tribe is very important to me, and it should be very important to you as well. I'm going to try and keep the video to just 20 minutes, maybe just 2024, just because that's the year of today. This will probably be uploaded to the Native American playlist, just because that's my thoughts. It's my thoughts, my honest, the cares of my heart, honestly. Like, I want to see Native people in this land, their land, thriving again. I want to see that. That's what I want to see, honestly. I want people to recognize the beauty of their culture, the beauty of the powwow, and hopefully the orthodoxy of Christ in there. There's dudes at powwows that have Orthodox crosses, that believe in Jesus Christ and keep their ancestral ways. Awesome. Check it out.